Hello and welcome to Wisdom Save. I'm Carlito,
And I'm Dauros.
and today we'll finally be covering the first session.
Dauros rambles about P&P RPGs featuring spiritual guidance from Carlito. It's
Wisdom Save!
Dauros, how does it begin?
Well, they were coming in on a ship called the Heat Blister,
Right, I remember now.
and they're landing off the coast of an island called Skarrig Island, which, as you recall, is around this storm in the middle of the world.
Right, it's towards the middle, so it's a little older, not older, but
It's
technologically weak.
yes. Think of it like sort of how you would envision like Norway or that sort of thing, where you have these glacial bays and a lot of snow, and it's wet and cold and
Tiny huts.
tiny huts.
Okay.
Before they actually make landfall on the island, the most idealistic character of the group, actually named Hero, who, yes, the pun is intended, is essentially kind of modeled after an anime protagonist, decided he was going to make a run for freedom, sort of thing. Like, try and save the people on the ship and take the ship and go home.
Of course.
And the half-dragon captain on the boat dispatched him quite quickly and threw him in the water. So the rest of the party dove after him, and that was how the party made landfall.
Was diving after him.
Essentially, yeah.
Nice.
So sometimes your players do all the hard work for you.
Like getting off the boat.
So the party's landed on Skarrig Island. Winter weather's moving in, it's starting to snow, the wind's blowing, and they've essentially made landfall on something they have no idea about, where they're going to go, what they're going to do. But first, they have something to deal with because some of the natives of the island have come out to greet them.
When you say greet, it's in a couple different ways, isn't it?
Yeah, the gentleman who came to meet them is named Edwin Camus.
Mhm.
He is part of a group called Dargash's Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Dargash is a petty dragon tyrant who rules this part of the island. With Edwin are his three wives, Polly, Amy, and Sally, and they're all cannibals, and this is fresh meat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, essentially, they're engaged by these cannibals in combat, and as the party goes to fight them, from behind, on the beach, are raised a few kobold zombies.
Why?
Because the other person controlling this part of Skarrig Island is a necromancer named Akegur, and he has a tentative alliance with Dargash. Sort of a non-aggression sort of thing.
I can see that.
So, occasionally zombies and cannibals are teaming up to wreak havoc on the new meat.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, storm's coming in. They managed to best the cannibals after some interesting combat decisions, mostly the fact that I'm using zombies and they didn't have slashing weapons.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Pathfinder has damage reduction, which means some creatures take less damage unless certain conditions are met. In this case, zombies take less damage unless a slashing weapon is used.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about how undead work, kind of makes sense.
I could see that.
Fortunately, the plot is on their side.
How so?
Well, Kaluna, remember the ace in the hole I discussed, one of the characters from before who was going to be on the island beforehand?
I needed some sort of island or item to start? Right.
Yeah. Zilpip has supplies that she has gathered and brought here by Kaluna's request, including short swords and daggers.
Oh, perfect.
So essentially, Zilpip shows up to this battle and says, hey, if you join up with Kaluna, you can use these things to defeat the zombies.
So that's pretty much been a wind off the bat.
Yeah. Just another little way for the DM to get hooks into the players.
Makes sense to me.
And after that, they essentially get invited back to Kaluna's base of operation. So, again, just another way the party is sort of indebted. Because when there's a warm fire, a cabin, that kind of thing.
Yeah, especially on an island this remote. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, party gets there, and they're then essentially given free reign. They're sitting at the campsite, and Kaluna gives them the order, figure out what's around. We need food, we need resources. So the group is given free rein to go out in whatever direction they so choose. So in a game like this, you sort of need to have an idea, at least, of what the map is going to be like.
Right.
But even here, you can sort of play it creatively. Say, party goes north and you decide there's going to be a centipede nest here.
That's what you decide as a DM? You don't have this, like, planned out or anything?
No.
There's just a centipede nest.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it makes sense. This is an area with a lot of battlefields and stuff. Carrion critters would love it, so...
I guess that does make sense, yeah.
They came across a shipwreck to the south of the camp that has plenty of wood and was carrying an iron shipment.
Well, that's handy.
And to the north, like I said, there's a centipede nest. So that was the two things that they found their first and second days, I believe, and spent most of their time retrieving stuff from the shipwreck.
So, as far as the centipede nest goes, is it a one-time encounter and they burned it down, or are they trying to use it for some sort of resource?
They actually dealt with the centipede nest in a later session.
Mm-hmm.
The centipedes, however, would essentially sort of harass them at night. They'd go to sleep, and centipedes would kind of sit at the periphery of the fire and look in hungrily, and then in the morning they'd see little skittery tracks at what the edge of firelight was.
Nice.
Yeah, always nice to wake up to and think, well, in the blizzard, these bugs are trying to get us.
Yeah. So what tools are you using to make the map and bring up all the supplies that you mentioned?
Well, it requires a fair bit of data keeping. Fortunately, I'm kind of a masochist when it comes to that and like to do that sort of thing. But Google Sheets is just an exemplary resource.
Really?
Yeah, it's spreadsheet software, but it's essentially automatically in Google Drive's cloud, so you can access it anywhere. So if, say, you're bored or something, you can look at and add to the map or something, even if you're in line at a checkout or something. Haven't quite got that desperate, but...
Line hasn't been that bad yet?
Yeah. I actually use Google Sheets for my mapping also. To do the different points of interest on Skarrig Island. I just set each cell as a relatively square-sized piece, and use the note function where you right-click and add a note, and just list what's there. There's a shipwreck here, centipede nest here.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And because it's on Google Drive, you can just send shared access to everybody in your group.
I could, but they actually have opted to go a bit old school and map it by hand.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay.
Yeah, so they're like, okay, so where was this? And I say, well, it's this far north. And they go, okay, and they mark out those squares.
They kind of vaguely draw out a map for themselves or
Yeah.
whatever. Neat. I like that idea.
The other thing with the base building and supply keeping, I actually keep track of that too, just so that way they don't suddenly have it feel like I'm being an arbitrary DM and saying, oh, you guys are out of food.
Right.
They can look at and see, hey, we have about enough to last this long because of how many people we have.
Are they using that, or are they also keeping track of that on their own?
I have given that to them so they can look at that so they can sort of know, because they also have a couple projects in mind, the main one being a palisade. So I've set the resource demands there. I said it needs 100 wood units, which are, it's arbitrary story units, but
Yeah.
it gives them something to aim for.
It's not logs or pounds or anything, it's
No.
just wood.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think they're used to that as RPG gamers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something easy to work with.
It's kind of taking what would otherwise be a story element and giving it some numbers so at least they feel like they can strive for something. Instead
Right.
of just saying, okay, you guys gathered enough wood, go make a palisade.
That makes sense to me. What happens next episode, Dauros?
Next episode, actually, disaster strikes. And I don't mean narratively. I mean electronically.
Oh, something goes awry with, like, the actual...
Yeah, the guts and organs of the game. The website Mythweavers, which is a gigantic electronic character sheet storage site. I think people also use it to find games, but I already have a group, so... lost character sheets from anything after I think it was July of 2016.
Ow.
Yeah, including, I think, 4 out of 6 of the character sheets in my game.
Ow, okay, yeah. So, then you have to roll with that and try and make something new.
Yeah, we actually decided to use the opportunity, call it that in a silver linings kind of way,
Right.
to try a new system. So I will cover that next time.
Thank you for watching Wisdom Save. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check out the rest of our stuff on our YouTube and other things on our website, ColoradoNerdEmporium.com. I guarantee there's a lot of interesting stuff there, and you'll find something you like. So thanks again from Carlito.
And Dauros.
Take care.